Have you ever wondered what it would be like if governments ceased to exist? Welcome to the world of anarchism. Picture an ancient world where philosophers in Greece and thinkers in China first began to question the necessity of rulers and the concept of authority. It was here, in the cradle of civilization, that the seeds of anarchism were sown. Fast forward a few centuries, and the idea of anarchism has evolved, expanded, and taken on a life of its own. It's no longer just about questioning authority, but about envisioning a world without it. A world where the individual is not bound by laws imposed from above, but is free to act according to their own will and conscience. But anarchism isn't just about the absence of government. It's about the absolute freedom of the individual. A world where you, yes, you, are the master of your own destiny. Where you're free to live as you choose, without fear of punishment from a higher authority. Anarchy, as it turns out, is not just about chaos and lawlessness as many believe. It's about freedom, autonomy, and the belief that humans are inherently good, capable of self-governance. It's a philosophy that has been misunderstood and misrepresented, but at its core, it's about the ultimate expression of human freedom. Now let's dive into the core of anarchism, the concept of absolute freedom. Anarchy is often misconstrued as chaos and disorder, but for anarchists, it represents the highest form of order, a society free from the chains of government control, societal norms, and conventions. Anarchists champion the idea of freedom in its truest sense. They believe in the power of individual autonomy and the right to live life without interference. They don't see government as a protector or provider, but rather as an unnecessary and harmful institution that restricts human liberty. But don't mistake this for a call to selfishness. Anarchists advocate for voluntary cooperation and mutual aid. They envision a society where individuals come together willingly, driven by shared values and mutual respect. This, they believe, is the foundation of a truly free and harmonious society. And while it's tempting to equate anarchy with lawlessness, remember this. To an anarchist, laws created by a government are different from rules agreed upon by a community. The former are imposed, the latter are chosen. In an anarchist world, freedom is the cornerstone, not anarchy. But what might anarchy look like in practice? Would it be total chaos or a utopia of freedom? Let's take a journey back in time and across continents to explore some real-world examples of anarchy. In the early 20th century, nestled in the heart of Eastern Europe, was a region known as the Free Territory in Ukraine. This was a society that functioned without a central government, where decision-making was based on free agreement and cooperation. Now, let's hop over to the Western Hemisphere, to the southernmost tip of Mexico. The Zapatistas, a group that emerged in the late 20th century, have created a society that embodies many anarchist principles. They reject the idea of a centralized power and instead believe in the autonomy of local communities. These societies, though vastly different in time and place, share a common thread: the pursuit of freedom through the absence of a centralized power. Both the Free Territory and the Zapatistas functioned, and in the case of the Zapatistas, continue to function on the principles of mutual aid, voluntary cooperation, and communal decision-making. While these societies weren't perfect, they offer a glimpse into what anarchy could look like in practice. Like any ideology, anarchy isn't without its critics. The main critiques often revolve around the potential for power vacuums. Without a central authority, who will enforce the laws and protect our rights? This question stirs heated debates. Critics argue that the lack of a central authority could lead to a state of disorder, where the strongest impose their will on the weakest. In essence, they suggest that anarchy, in its quest for absolute freedom, might inadvertently pave the way for the rise of tyranny. Critics argue that anarchy could lead to the very oppression it seeks to eliminate. Despite these critiques, the principles of anarchy continue to inspire movements around the world. Take, for example, the Occupy Wall Street movement, which used anarchy's principles to challenge the power structures of the financial world. Or consider Antifa, a movement that promotes direct action to oppose fascism, echoing the anarchist call for self-governance and resistance to oppressive systems. These modern movements are living proof that anarchy is not confined to the pages of history books. Anarchy, it seems, is more than just a theory. It's a living, breathing ideology that continues to shape our world in surprising ways. So, is anarchy the path to absolute freedom, or is it a recipe for chaos? As we've journeyed through the inception, practice, critiques, and relevance of anarchy today, we've uncovered a multitude of perspectives. Yet, the ultimate interpretation lies within your hands. Anarchy and freedom, two concepts so intertwined yet so distinct, will always provoke thought, debate, and introspection. That's a question only you can answer. So, Go forth, explore, and form your own conclusions about anarchy and freedom.